What Radio? The music you want.
With your host, Keys Dan.
It's very important you don't stink today.
Hey, I make no guarantees.
RadioWhat.com. What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Let me say that one more time. DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote. And maybe you could have me, yes, me, at your next event. I like to party with the people. Let me entertain you. You know, I like to do the weddings. Oh, we got to break out and do some weddings and some parties and some corporate events. The people need to be entertained. And please allow me the honor of entertaining you. Yeah, all right. Speaking of entertaining you, today on the program, I have the boys from Union Road Music. Yeah, they're a band. They can entertain you. And that's all I'm going to say about them right about now. So in the next few minutes, you're going to have that in your ears. This week's shows, yes, this is the portion of the program where I put this week's shows, the public shows, and the private shows that I have out there. Due to the novel COVID-19 coronavirus, I have no public shows. I have no private shows. I have podcasts. I get to talk to people and learn from folks. Yeah, that's what I get to do. And I get to, you get to hear my voice in your ears, along with the voices of others. Yeah, it's promoting people. It's people helping people. That's what I like doing. Although I did get good news. The Rab in Conway, Arkansas, my usual Friday night gig, is opening back up. They've been open for about a week and a half or two, just about a third of capacity, and everybody's got gloves and masks on, and if they're handling the food, the drinks and such. So slowly getting back to normal. I realize that there's a virus out there that has been killing folks, but people are starting to realize, we got to get the economy back going, and people need to work. People need to go out and have some fun, because sitting home in their houses, it's just, it's detrimental on people's psyche for the most part, or for some people, it's just detrimental to their mental. So, I'm glad that we're slowly figuring out, all right, as long as we show some vigilance and adhere to some guidelines that the scientists have put forth. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to wear gloves, but I will stay away from folks. I don't generally shake hands anyway, because I meet too many people every week, hundreds of people at these different parties that I go to, so fist bumping, finger gunning. And, I used to like hugging, but, I guess that's out the window right now. It's good advice, man. The germaphobes probably had it right. Look, they're just fine. They've been doing this their whole lives, but maybe they have it right about this time during this pandemic. All right, that's enough of me rambling. Let's get into it with the boys from Union Road Music. Now, from what I understand, I got part of the band, so we're going to find out what part of the band I have. Union Road Music. Let's call them right now. Calling Union Road Music now.
Hello.
Hi, Union Road Music, please.
Yeah, this is me. Here, let me merge the rest of the guys in here.
Well, all right.
Hey, how you doing again, Dan? This is you with the band here.
Union Road Music, is that who I have the pleasure of speaking to?
Yeah, that is correct.
It's
hey, Dan.
Keys Dan with the What Makes You Famous podcast. Let's go ahead and do a sound off. And I have to apologize in advance. I'm pretty sure I had the number way off. So there was a gentleman named Hamilton David out there that's probably going to be screaming at me because I left him a few messages. And very kind messages, very nice messages. So I'm publicly apologizing to Hamilton David right now. Let's give a sound off of who you are.
Did you give me a shout out for the band when you called and left the message as well? Or?
I did. So maybe you've got one more subscriber to your YouTube and your various social medias. That's what we're here for. All right, man. So how many guys do I have on me at this time? And did I say that right? I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, we you got 3 guys from Union Road in the band. We're a band of 5 guys, and on the phone with you right now is I'm Nick, and you got Jared and Tyson. So Jared plays drums, and Tyson plays bass, and I play guitar and sing.
All right. If I look on the Facebook page, I see the order of the band, and it looks like I have the top 3. So 3 out of 5 ain't bad. If I look, it's Nick Rhodes, it's Jared Noland, and Tyson Klassen. To hope I pronounced that correctly.
That was correct. Finally.
Yay! I put the right emphasis on the right syllable.
Yeah.
I kid. So Union Road Music, man. We're here to talk about music. I suspect by the end of this podcast, I'm going to know everything there is to know about how to make a band and how to become a band. And let's start with Union Road Music, man. That is a great name for a band. How surprising that you found some people that decided this would be a great name as well. How did Union Road Music, the name, come about?
Well, I mean, we used to be called the Dusty Roads Band. And,
Okay.
the problem with that is it was spelled the exact same way as my name, and nobody else can spell that unless they know it. And so we were having a lot of difficulty with people being able to get to our social media site and stuff like that. So we needed kind of a name that really described more of the character of the people in the band and described, and it was a straightforward, I guess, if you will. So we picked Union Road as kind of like a way to say, like, we're all kind of from different walks of life, and we were able to come together to make this band.
Pretty smart. If you saw that movie, The Wonders, starring Tom Hanks, was I guess the biggest star there, and they had a band called The Wonders, and they wanted to spell it Oneders, The Wonders, and it looked like the Oneders. That's right. That in fact one of the bandmates, played by I can't remember his name, but I know he's a great actor. Anyway, he said, "Hey, it looks like the Oneders." So it's good that you changed the band name to something simplified. I've come from the Florida Keys, and Keys Dan has been following me for a long, long time. So no matter where I go, it's always Keys Dan. But still, the word keys, Keez, how do you, keys? What do you, keys? No, I should have been a whole lot more simpler. I should have stayed with Dancing Danny G, but that's me. That's on me. This is about you. Nick Rhodes, vocals, guitar. I'm guessing the front man, because that's usually the guy who's carrying the guitar and doing some vocals. So primarily, is this your brainchild?
Not really. Me, Jared, kind of were the people who kind of got it going in the beginning. And Jared, we had played back, back in, I don't know, the early 2000s. We had played together in different bands, and also Tyson, too, was mixed in there. And he played with a band Jared was in. And so we all kind of knew each other, took a long break, and people went off and did different things and whatnot. And then we happened to meet couple years ago and decided to kind of start this project and start this idea, a band that we can kind of fuse some of our background in with country.
Yeah.
I mean, where it started. I'm
feeling a lot of country, but traditionally your look is not very country, man. It's more of a grungy type look, maybe, got a little punk in there, some metal, you guys look metal, but you're so country. And I love the fusion of all those different flavors. Let's go with Tyson Klassen, since we haven't heard a lot from you. Your bass, guitar, vocals, and do you make bass face when you play the bass?
Sometimes it depends on the situation I'm in, but sometimes it calls for bass face.
Yeah, the bassist is like traditionally the funny man, the guy who's adding that kind of flavor, sitting, off to the side, on one side of the stage, but adding that flavor and putting that beat down, that rhythm down. Oh man. Well, all right. Let's start with you, Tyson Klassen. Where are you from? How did you grow up? How did tell me a little bit about your family life and when did you start a love for music?
Well, let's see. I grew up in Salem, Oregon. Born in 1982. Started playing music in school in 4th grade. I played saxophone and clarinet, and then got way into skateboarding, kind of quit that for a while. Then when I was 15, I heard the band Primus, and I fell in love with bass guitar. And kind of from then on, I met Jared Nolan when I was about 19, and he invited me to join his band, and we just kind of kept going from there. And he taught me a lot of things that I know now, and I've just been playing ever since. I went to music school in Seattle for a bit, and then moved back I live in Hood River, Oregon now, and just been, keeping up with the music scene, trying to keep things going.
Tyson Klassen, Primus is responsible for warping the minds of many, many children over the years. So yeah, that's not such a bad group to start off with and get some influence from. Were mom and dad musical at all, or do you have any brothers and sisters that have been musical?
Yeah, my dad played drums at church, and he kind of got me. I started out as a drummer also, and then quickly went to bass once I heard that. So the rhythm section is kind of where I lie. Dig
it. All right. Jared Nolan on the backbeat. Speaking of a guy that's going to be fighting you to play the drums, do you ever switch off and say, Tyson, you take the drums and I'm going to go play something else over here, maybe tambourine, or I don't know. Do you switch off or is it all backbeat for you, Jared Nolan?
Well, when we're messing around, we play musical chairs a lot, but because everybody's a multi-instrumentalist, which makes a lot of fun. But on stage, not so much. We kind of stick to our lane.
Anybody who's listened to this podcast, man, I've been trying to convince band members that play several instruments to switch around on stage. I mean, because that would be such a hoot for me sitting out in the audience and here, the drummer takes a hold of the lead guitar, and then the lead guitar grabs the bass, and then the bass hits over to the drums, and it's just, man, that would be such a hoot for me to see that happen.
That's how rehearsals go. So I don't know, maybe we'll work something up for you.
Oh, for me, just for me. That's right. We'll call that the Radio What Tour. That's my online radio station. There, a little self-promotion. Bam, I put it out there. But we're talking to Union Road, the Union Road music men. 3 out of 5 ain't bad. I mean, I always told the teacher that. I told my mom that when I brought my report card home. 3 out of 5 of the band members. Hey, that ain't bad. All right.
That's still passing grade.
You got it right. All right, so I'm still in the top 3. Nick Rhodes, man, where did you start playing music, and who inspired you to be the singer that you are?
Well, nobody else wanted to do it, and well, I guess I'm from the Midwest, or I'm originally born in North Carolina. My family's from Louisville, and I actually had lived in the Florida Keys myself. My dad was in the military, and I spent I think it was a few years down in Key West, Florida, and down there, and also was back in Florida for the military when I joined the military. But yeah, I had some connections a little bit to Florida as well. But I kind of got into music when I was little, and I don't know, 6-7 years old. My grandpa, he had played guitar and stuff like that. And my dad played guitar, and so I kind of just wanted to do it, and I guess I've just been doing that since. But this is the first country band that I've been in.
Huh. I'll say that. What did you? Who had you played with before?
I had played with some other kind of rock type projects and stuff, kind of stuff like that, or I've done some other just kind of musical projects.
All around the country, or solely in Oregon?
Mostly in Oregon.
Gotcha. All right, so man, a lot of you have traveled around the country. How did you end up in Oregon? I think we'll probably go there a little bit later. Let's stay with it. Now, you were in Key West. That's actually the southernmost portion of the United States, and you were on the naval base in Key West, which is the real southernmost point. All the tourists that go to that little buoy that's sitting there at what they call the southernmost point is not really the southernmost
90
point.
Miles to Cuba.
It's the Navy base that has it's a little further south, right? Do you remember how much further? How old were you back then?
I was pretty young, but I kind of remember a lot of the stuff. I remember that point down there in Key West, the 90 miles to Cuba, little point there, and I remember like Mallory Square and stuff like that. We lived over on the base and base house and whatnot, but I remember some of it.
How old were you?
I was, I guess I would have been between 8 and 12 or something, but when I was there or something.
All right. Well, I mean, we chewed a lot of the same dirt. You mentioned Mallory Square. A lot of musicians, a lot of artists, a lot of creators go to Mallory Square, and every single night there is a sunset celebration. Every single night. In fact, and I'm going to go with another movie, My Life in the Movies, Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines. They went to Key West and they somehow got on Mallory Square and people were looking out at the water towards the sun. And one of the characters said, I think it was Billy Crystal, said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, we're looking at the sunset." "Why?" "Because the sun's setting." "Oh, I mean, it's a certain way of life down there in the Keys, man." But you went all the way from that part of the country, all the way catty corner to the complete opposite part. I'm guessing you followed Dad there. I guess your father took you, I guess, up to Oregon. Was it straight to Oregon or from the Keys or what?
No, he retired out of Washington and Fort Lewis. And so I went to high school and all that stuff up in Tacoma area. And I guess maybe that's kind of where the little bit of the grunge background kind of came in.
So who were your first influences, Nick?
Oh, actually, a lot of my stuff lies in the 70s, starting with in the 60s. Led Zeppelin, kind of the Allman Brothers, bands like that, were the kind of the first bands. Chicago, I was kind of introduced to, and Willie Nelson, all those types of guys.
Well, now Tyson was born in 82. Were you even around in the 70s, Nick Rhodes?
No, I was not.
Okay, all right, but you had a good musical education from the parents. That's
right.
That's fine. That is wonderful. I'm born in 69. I've been through the classic rock thing, and now classic rock is the stuff I grew up with in high school. Yeah, I'm getting older, and I'm not sure if I like it or not, but I'm feeling good, and I'm glad to be talking to people that I'm learning from right now. I'm learning from Union Road Music. Those guys, 3 out of 5 of those guys, Nick Rhodes, Jared Nolan, and Tyson Klassen. All right, I haven't heard a lot from Jared Nolan. Let's explore you a little bit, man. Tell me, do you like butter? No, I'm kidding, man. Just no, it's a little difficult, to do 3 people at a time, but I definitely like this aspect, getting to know a little bit about Union Road Music. And I hope that one day I can take each one of the members and kind of go in depth onto how you became who you are, but forming together in a band. How many of you were in bands beforehand? Nick Rhodes, you were in a band before. You were in some rock bands, right?
Yeah, I was in a couple different bands.
And Jared Nolan, you were in other bands as well?
Yeah, this is pretty much all I've ever done my whole life. So
your whole life?
I've been a lot of
no backup jobs. No backup jobs. Mom and Dad said, all right, music is okay. Go do it.
I'm second generation, man. I grew up on the road touring with my parents.
Wow. Okay. Tell me about the parents, man. Brag on them. How did they inspire you musically?
Oh, man. Well, obviously we, grew up in a very musical home life, and got a couple of young brothers that are musicians as well. And my dad's a record producer and spent years touring as a live musician, and ended up being a worship pastor for many years, and we've kind of always been in it.
So was your real first name Osmond?
It's been said before, yeah.
I mean, cause it sounded like, Mom and Dad had some musical interest and decided to have a family and instilled that same musical interest into your brothers and sisters. Are they still in the music biz at all, or are they doing Joe jobs?
One of my brothers is, he's active duty Coast Guard, but he does classical composition on the side, and works on like scoring shows and movies and stuff as he has time for.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess now, okay. I guess we can go there as we are right now in this novel COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. How is that changing you? I mean, were you touring before as Union Road Music? What had you been doing previous to all this?
Yeah, we were really fairly active. This was definitely put the brakes on a lot of stuff that was going on for everybody. But we've been playing mostly West Coast regional type stuff for at the moment, and building a lot of our online presence.
Now, how long ago did you all come together? I know you kind of knew each other from other bands, maybe running into each other at different places, and then you all came together as Union Road, the band. When did you officially come together?
About just a little over a year ago.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'm looking at your YouTube, and I did find where you had played some music, and you have a few, well, at least 2 songs that I heard, the Awake song, and then I heard the another Whiskey Anthem song. Is that one of your songs as well?
Yeah, that was with the previous lineup. Nick and I were part of that, and well, actually, I guess Tyson too. But yeah, that was under the Dusty Rhodes band.
Dusty Rhodes. Okay. And it makes sense that you would have changed that, because he was a very famous wrestler, man. I like Dusty Rhodes. I remember in my childhood, in the late 70s, he broke his arm, and it seemed like he was in a cast for like 6 years and just bouncing that cast off of people's head for about 6 years when I was watching wrestling as a kid. And so yeah, Dusty Rhodes, very notorious, man, and quite a showman. So it's not a bad thing to be named after him, but that name's already been taken. It's already legendary. Union Road. Yeah. That's the way to go. That's what we're pushing now. That's what we're branding. And that's what you're going by. That's the moniker. So
absolutely.
So one of you wrote another Whiskey?
Yeah, I ended up writing that kind of when, Jared's laughing. I wrote that song when I was in Hawaii on my honeymoon. We were at an aquarium, and I didn't really want to be there. So I wrote a song in my head, and I'm like, I guess whiskey was on my mind. I don't know why, but it was, and so I wrote a song, and I just was making it kind of a joke, like, oh no, another Whiskey Anthem. And then I brought it back to these guys, and they're like, yeah, that's really good. I'm like, really? How?
Well, all right, man.
I still don't know. People want to hear it, so hey, I'm like, oh, okay. Cool, whatever.
Congratulations on your marriage. Congratulations on your honeymoon. Most people want to spend their whole life in Hawaii when they get there. At least that's what I've heard. I haven't been outside these lower 48 in my whole life, but I'm kind of excited to get to Hawaii. But you got to the aquarium. I guess you got dragged there by the honey, and we do things for our women, don't we?
Well, we both didn't want to be there, so we're pretty
How
much.
Did you end up there?
And we were. Well, because we paid and we thought it'd be really cool, and then we were seeing stuff that we were already seeing on the beach. and I was like, man, they just literally roped off the beach and charged people to go there.
All right, it's all a scam. I heard the luau's and the poi and the pig roasts. It's all cash. I get it. There is a high tourism out there, but hey, it is Hawaii, and I have some friends that have moved from Arkansas, which is where I reside right now, from Central Arkansas, and they've moved out to Hawaii, and they'll never be back, man. They'll never be back. I love it. But
Tyson's from Hawaii. Go, Tyson.
What? Tyson, tell all.
I'm in love with surfing, and so I convinced my wife to move out to Maui. And so we lived out there for a couple of years, and then now we're back. Things change. I loved it out there. I could spend the rest of my life there, but it is what it is.
But you convinced her to go out there. I'm sure that didn't take much convincing. But why did you come back, man?
She wanted to go out there too, but she missed her family, and I couldn't keep her away from her family. So
I get it.
The real story is we offered him a gig.
That's
part of it. Yeah, I started talking to Jared, and he was like, "Well, we got this band going on." And I'm like, "Well, maybe I can go back."
So, did anybody do any gigging in Hawaii? I mean, what's gigging all over the country? Let's put it that way. Has anybody been around the different places that you were living? Were you doing gigs in other places, and how does that compare to the Pacific Northwest?
Maui, Hawaii has there's definitely there's small islands. So all those guys kind of lock down those gigs. There's not a whole lot of big gigs going on. So I moved back to Seattle, where there's a lot more potential for music. And then Jared convinced me to basically move down to Oregon.
So you didn't bring your guitar, and they didn't say, Howley, man, Howley, go home.
I did bring it, and I had a few musicians, but it just, it's hard to get in the gig scene there because those guys have to lock down.
Well, today, it's funny that we're talking about Hawaii. Today happens to be the celebration of the 61st birthday of Israel Kamokolokololi. I can't pronounce his last name because it's almost unpronounceable. He's the guy that sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow in that ukulele version. and he would have been 61 years old. Unfortunately, he did pass away quite a few years ago. But right now, somewhere in Hawaii, they are celebrating Israel's birthday. How about that?
Nice.
Oh yeah, he's a national treasure there.
I suspect, I've been told that he's their Bob Marley, or he's their Elvis Presley. He's the guy that has made music that is inspired. And that's the power that you have as a musician, is to create something. Who's writing the music? Who's putting down the beats? And I mean, what's the process of, okay. All right. Standard interview question in 3, 2, 1. What's the process of making the music that you do, Union Road Music?
Oh man, you want to take that, Nick?
Oh yeah, sure. Well, we kind of all write, and sometimes I'll pitch an idea in, and we kind of all decide if it has potential. And this kind of an idea being like some different basic chords with some lyrics and an idea for a song, and then from there it moves to does it have potential? Can this grow to something that can be something that people enjoy and dance to? And if we decide that is the case, then from there any member can submit it, obviously, and if it makes it to the next part, then we kind of get together and we jam it out and we'll demo it, and then we demo it and we think it sounds good and stuff. And we decide, hey, let's make this a single, or let's make this something that's going to go on this upcoming record. From there, then we kind of, we start developing the song, producing it. We might work with several different people. We work with people in Nashville, and also Jarrett here, our drummer in our band, is a producer and runs a recording studio as well.
So who was the one that had the first affinity? I mean, the first idea that they could write music, and who was writing songs at the earliest age, and were you all writing songs for that matter? First, say your name, because the voices are starting to blend together in my mostly deaf after 30 years of wearing headphones. Who's been writing the music the longest?
Yeah, I would say Nick probably. This is Jared, by the way. Nick is probably I would call him the main writer. He's generally bringing us the kind of the building blocks, at least, of the songs, and then we all get to kind of tear into it and as a group, kind of make it our own and finish it and polish up whatever needs to be polished. And at the end, hopefully, we got something that everybody likes. Well,
it's cool to have a producer in the band. I mean, sometimes that causes a few problems. It's nice to go to some place that has an impartial producer, but you got all the recording stuff. Might as well use your studio. But I remember my uncle was in a band. He was the drummer, and he had a guitarist that was the producer, the one that was making all the mixing all the music together. So when the song came out, guess what you heard the most? The guitar. Wow, that guitar is loud. Where's the backbeat? Yeah. Where's the bass? Where's all, so to have somebody impartial is a good thing. But I mean, it sounds like you got it down. What made you get into doing the production? Were you one of these kids that was using Fruity Loops or any of those kind of things?
The funny thing is I actually, I grew up under my dad producing, and I was always kind of on the other side of the glass. I played on a lot of records growing up, and just being a session player, and I absolutely had zero interest in being an engineer or a producer. And then some friends of ours were making a record, and they wanted to use some gear that I had, some amps and drums and stuff, just to make their stuff sound a little better. And so I took them the gear and ended up staying on and accidentally producing the record, and got hooked. And I was probably 23. I think at the time. So I kind of got into it a little late.
Yeah. It's one thing to produce your own stuff. I mean, that's got to be a hoot, but to help somebody, okay, say you're having your own baby, but you're helping other people deliver their babies, man. You're the doctor. Exactly. That's fantastic. That's got to feel good. What's the name of your production studio?
Burley Studios.
Burley Studios. I'm seeing it right here. And you have a Facebook page, at least, Burley Studios.
Yeah, probably need to update it. But yeah, it's there.
Yeah, but do you have other bands that you're producing out of there?
Oh, yeah.
On a regular basis?
I've made probably, I don't know, I'm probably coming up on 300 records I've made.
That's fantastic. Now, as a Union Road Music, you've been playing at least a year now. And so how long did it take to put your sound together, and I'm loving at least the two songs that I've heard. Fantastic. Just got some country, but you look at I'm a music video guy. I'm an '80s guy. MTV is definitely my generation. So you put the music video together. Let's take it there. Who put that music video together? The one for Awake and the one for Another Whiskey. That was kind of a little more loose, right?
Yeah, we actually had the same videographer do both videos. We just definitely had kind of different resources available to us at each stage. So we did the Whiskey Anthem video with him, and then when it got time to shoot Awake, we decided that let's map this one out a little bit more and take a little more time on it, and pretty happy with how it turned out.
Well, that club looks pretty cool. It looks funny enough. I do a place called the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. It used to be the Conway Supper Club, but they painted it just like that, all dark. It used to be kind of like one of those clubs in the Florida Keys where they had paraphernalia up on the walls, the cars and different signs and such like that. Well, they took all those signs down and they painted it all kind of a charcoal gray, black, kind of like what's in your video. What's the venue that you're playing at?
That was a place called the Roxy, which is, I believe, defunct now. They're just downtown Salem, Oregon.
Shotske's.
Shotske's. That's right.
Okay, yeah, I was kind of hoping to give shout outs, give credit where credit is due, because I definitely like, you're a band. It's already 5 members that are coming together trying to create some magic out of nothing, out of thin air. But I always like to give credit to the venues that have hired you out and put you to work, and because these people got off their butts, they got it, they paid to get into this club, and here you are, man. You're entertaining the people. That's got to be magic for you, man. But so what was the first gig that you played, and what was the response on that said gig, and how long did it take for you guys to feel you were good enough to start playing as Union Road?
Oh boy, so take that one too, Nick.
Well, our first gig, funny enough, was a really cool place that we were lucky enough to even have somebody believe that we could actually play. When we first came out, you create a band, you got to get something going around the name where people think, why should I hire you, kind of thing. So our first place we got into was this place called the Ponderosa, and it's a nightclub in Portland, and it was a great venue and a great opportunity, and we appreciate their generosity in allowing us to give us a chance to get it out of the gate there. But that gig had led to many others right after that, and we really started seeing just kind of the core group of guys there, especially as it developed into me, Jared, Tyson, Derek, and Caleb. We developed into this sound over the time, and it's really kind of given us more. It's been driving us to want to do this more, to believe in it, and also to just define that sound. And you'll hear some upcoming songs we have coming out, that these singles like Wasting Time coming out on the 29th of this month. It's going to be a song that's going to show a lot of our kind of bluesy rock side and a lot of our southern rock, if you will, and then some of our kind of even Motown influences that are coming through on it. So, I guess that's kind of how it started, and what it evolved into was really just figuring out who we were and then allowing what we were to kind of blend into each other and become the sound.
Well, I feel like I'm on the ground floor of this brand new project. It's it's been around for a year, and you've had some. What's the response? Some success? Are people listening to the music? Are they buying the merch at the table? Because I tell people when you're going to see a band, particularly a brand new band or a local band, the best way to really support them is to go to the merch table and say hello, man. If you can buy a shirt, that's great. If you can buy a button or a bumper sticker, what have you, a CD, that's great. But mostly it's, say hello to the band afterward and tell them what you thought. Be kind. But what's the response?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the response, I guess, does anybody else want to take that?
Yeah, no, I honestly, we're just, man, every night we get up on stage, we're actually pretty blown away by the support we're getting from our fan base. A lot of us come from kind of a rock or metal background, and that stuff is just so much fun to play. But it's kind of hard to build a fan base a lot of times. And so this, whatever we're doing right now seems to be resonating with people, and we're having a blast doing it. They're having fun. So it's turning into a great win-win for everybody.
Well, that has to feel good. Well, I know at least one of you's a family man, got a wife at home, and it takes a lot to be to put up with having a musician, because most of the time you're leaving. What was it BB King said in one of the songs? You go to work at 9. Life of a musician. You go to work at 9 p.m. You get home around the sun's rising. So to have.
But now there's life of a musician in a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole nother story. We'll get to that.
We're always home now.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And I know. Here I am sitting in my little studio at my house, and this is me giving my family a break. While I talk to you guys at the band of Union Road Music. But this is the way that I give them a break, because I'm home a little bit too much now. So I think one of my gigs is starting back up. Not this Friday, but next Friday. So I'm kind of stoked about that. I get to DJ back on the weekends again. Hooray! Starting to open back up. Not that the coronavirus is gone. I know it's still out there. I know we still don't have a cure. If you're feeling sick, stay home. But for the rest of us, hey, let's go out and kind of bust out of this a little bit. Try to break out. But anyway, I digress into the coronavirus tunnel. That's what's on a lot of our minds. But I mean, how many of you are family men or married folks?
I am. I have a wife and 4 children.
Fantastic. Be fruitful and multiply. I heard that verse somewhere.
Yeah. That one sucked.
How'd that happen? No, that's good.
We're actually all married. We're all married except for actually one guy's about to get married. But there's only going to be one guy after. I guess there'll be 4 out of the 5 will all be married except for one after one of our guitar players gets married this summer.
But he's taking the vows. Fantastic.
Yeah. So all of us are going to be kind of off the market.
Well, I mean, it's nice. It's nice to have somebody at home. Whenever I get home from a gig, and I'm probably projecting, I want to get your thoughts on this. When I get home and all I'm doing is DJing. I have 3 guitars sitting in my closet. I could play 3 chords. I have a giant piano.
For each.
3 chords each, right? 1 for each. No, but but 2-finger Ted, right? No, but and then I have a big piano. Thankfully, I have a very talented 14-year-old daughter, and she's very good at playing piano, and she's busting out the ukulele. I have to live vicariously through you. But then when I watch musicians such as yourself, I go, wow, that's fantastic. And I know that there was a question in my head somewhere, but I'm running off the train of thought because I'm excited to talk to you guys, actual real live musicians. Oh, whenever I get home from a gig, and I think, wow, that was a great show. All those people were loving me. And then I come home and I get, honey, take out the garbage.
Yeah, reality check.
Grounded. Yep. That's what they do. They keep you grounded. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. Let's go with Tyson. I haven't heard a lot from you. What are your thoughts on that when you come home from a gig, or how's your wife treating?
Oh, she's always been like my number one fan. Whatever project I'm doing, working on, she's always there to support me. Front row, loving it. But she definitely lays down the law when I get home. Make sure I keep in line. So I don't drift off. But she's definitely the better half.
The generosity of women never ceases to amaze me, man.
Yep.
So, all right. So, Jared, yes, it's nice to have people that support you, and I'm guessing they have to be very, are you doing tours outside of the Oregon area, or are you staying close to home?
Obviously right the second
last year,
but last year, we had been setting up a bunch of tour stuff, and then had to of course cancel it when all this other stuff happened with lockdown. So, but I mean, I spent years touring on and off and doing all that, so my family's kind of used to it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard on a body. It definitely is. I mean, being home, one thing is, because I go all over the state doing weddings and stuff like that. I sometimes I get out of state a little bit, but just to drive. a couple of hours to do a wedding for 6 hours and then pack all that stuff up and come home. It's hard on a body. It's nice to be home a little bit. I mean, is it? What do you think? What do you guys think? Is it easier to? I mean, how's life on the road as opposed to life at home?
Different.
Yeah,
different.
Way different.
Yeah. No, it's fun though. I've always enjoyed kind of the being able to have a foot in both worlds there. Like it's interesting to me to be able to kind of go out and do something different, see the world, and then come home to a normal life. It's a good place to hide. Nice.
I mean, but tours like plane rides or somewhere that you can get to in a van or I mean, how far are the tours?
Both either. I get hired out doing a bit of kind of sideman work, kind of filling stuff for flight aids for different artists too. So I get to travel a bit here and there, but yeah, both.
Yeah, there's
both
something
nice.
to that. All right. I mean, the other two, come on.
It's kind of fun. You get to go play rock star when you're on the road and like live a whole nother life, and then you get to step away from it and kind of hide when you're done. And I've toured a bit in my days, played with a lot of different bands, kind of all around, and it's always fun. It's always an adventure, and it's always different. Every gig is different. Every experience, you just kind of. And the funny thing is, people don't really realize they think being on tour is just partying and doing all this stuff all the time. But most of the time, you're just staring at the lines passing on the road. You're looking at truck stop bathrooms. That's the majority of it. But when you get to the gigs, that's when the fun happens. So.
And that's how you're going to stay safe from the coronavirus. You use truck stop bathrooms. That'll keep you immunized from everything.
Exactly. Truck stops and airports.
You better believe it. All right. So, I mean, as a kid, when you're in your 20s, if you're a touring musician, I could see that. Party all the time. Okay. Yes. You do the show and then you go off and you spend the whole night doing whatever, debauchery. That is something in your 20s. But once you become a married man who's a musician, I suspect that you're going to settle down a little bit. I mean, other bands that you see, some of the bigger bands.
There's only one thing that we can say to this right now.
Please. Oh, yes. Nobody else is listening. Don't worry.
Yeah, everybody's listening.
It's just you and me, fellas. Come on.
No, we're pretty calm. We might take in a nice game of croquet and some.
Yes. Look for the bingo hall and the church parlor. Make sure.
Sudoku.
This isn't the library.
Yeah, we go to the library. Check out books.
That's if we're feeling really wild.
Oh, you guys.
We've been working on our hot cocoa recipes.
Oh, wait. There was a comedian that had a kind of a bit of that. He said something about. Hey, that girl, she invited me up for some cocoa. And the way she said cocoa, I knew exactly what she meant. Hot chocolate, hot chocolate, hot chocolate, hot chocolate. If I can remember who that was, I'd give him credit for sure, man. But I thought it was redirection. I love it. All right. So I know that Jared has at least a kind of a side gig with his production company. Anybody else have Joe jobs? You don't have to disclose them if you don't want to, but if you have other interests besides music.
Go ahead, Nick. I mean, I always try to dabble in a little bit. So I got little things and stuff. I'm primarily I try to focus on music and whatnot, but I have me and my wife. I help her run. She primarily trains and does everything, but she does a dog training business, and I help her with that as well.
Cool. And, today is also like International Rescue Dog Day as well. I read that. Cool. So yeah, you're touching on many different things that are happening today. so the dog business. Tell me about the dog business, man. So you guys train dogs?
Yeah, it's called Roadtail Canine. You can find her on Instagram, and a little plug. And then she takes on dogs, one dog at a time. She really focuses on just basically training, basic stuff to advanced stuff. My wife actually was in the Marine Corps and trained dogs in the Marine Corps, and was a canine handler in the Marine Corps.
That is cool,
man. She has quite a big background with it.
See, that's good. And Man, you know what I find as I'm going around, just taking my daily walks? It's the small dogs that need to be trained more than the big dogs. It seems like people leave or maybe they train the big dogs because they figure they're so big, but the little dogs they leave them to go wild because they figure they're too small to hurt anybody. But I mean, there wasn't anything meaner than when I was walking around and there was a little Chihuahua with a pink tutu on. I can remember him vividly. And, I'm walking around and he came from around the back of the house. I thought he was chewing on my shoes. Yes, he wasn't hurting me. But does the wife train little dogs too?
She does. She trains for little dogs as well. Little dogs, medium-sized ones, and large ones. Extra large ones. And if there's anything bigger than that, I think she'll take that too.
All right, so keep your Marmaduke at home. No giant, no Clifford, the big red dogs. Sorry.
Yeah, we can almost take care. Not quite yet.
All right, man. So I like finding out different interests of different people. And finding out, draining the knowledge from folks. That's mostly why I started this podcast, is to learn from folks. So it's purely selfishness. So Mr. Tyson Klassen, what are you into?
Well, I mean, besides music, I've been playing music for 20 years, doing gigs all around, recording sessions and stuff. But a lot of times, I've also been a bartender for a long time. But I'm currently training to be a real estate home inspector, to have my own business doing that, like kind of a side gig thing for a little extra income.
You can make some bucks on that, man. I know that I'm in the market to buy a house, and we almost got one house, and I know we had to pay about 3 bills for a guy to crawl around and inspect the place. And fortunately, he found the mold and some problems with the house. So good on you, man. That's definitely a good job to have, or a good skill to have. I don't think you're going to be. Yeah.
The only person that is guaranteed to make money in any real estate transaction is the inspector.
You better believe it, because we didn't even buy that house, and he still got the cash in his pocket.
Yep. So it's kind of a nice little side personal business I could have. My wife and I will probably tag team that one together too, just to help her go by. She could help with the books and all that, because I'm not too great with that stuff.
And what was the other thing that you were into?
I was a bartender for a long time. I still bartend.
Getting some drinky drinks for the drunky drunks, man. Are you a big drinker?
Yeah.
What's your drink of choice?
I'm not a huge drinker. I like whiskey. I like cocktails, but I'm mainly a beer guy.
Well, I get to work at a lot of bars, just like you guys do, and I guess being a bartender, being the sociologist that I am, the amateur sociologist that I am, and kind of people watching. I had a half a beer when I was 21, and I passed out, so I'm just not good at it. I haven't had anything since. It's nice to watch people. Sometimes I'll see them when I'm setting up at the club at 7:00. They're like, yeah, we're here to party. Yeah. And then at 2:00 in the morning, yeah, we're here to party. And then in the meantime, some of the big conversation was with the bartender. What kind of conversations did you have as a bartender with the folks? What was some of the stories that they would unfold on or unload on you?
I mean, they say when you're a bartender, it's 10% pouring liquid into glasses and 90% therapy. Like you're everybody's therapist. So they're spilling all their beans to you, telling you their life story, and you just gotta listen. And so I've heard tons of stories over the days. I can't even think of one right now. It's been so long. But yeah, like people's dog dying, like losing their house, or people getting married, everything.
Yeah, you don't have any client privilege here. You can spill everything, and I want names. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
All the people in Oregon, you're going to have to move, honey. All the people in Oregon. Yeah.
Everybody's listening to
this. All right, man. So, I mean, you've got a good thing started. You got a good thing going on. You got a good look. I mean, I like the way you guys sound and the videos. Definitely. Who was the one produced the videos again?
His name's Isaac Turner.
And you said he had
Isaac Turner Media. You can find him at Isaac Turner Media.
And you said he had different kinds of equipment from between the the whiskey video and then the Awake video, which just came out.
Oh yeah. He upgraded some stuff. We upgraded kind of our approach to it, and I mean, it kind of came together pretty well.
Now, all right, let's go over that Awake video because it's very impressive, and the song is great too. I mean, I want to ask who wrote that and who put that together. How did
the
that?
The song was actually written by two guys named one Corey Barker and Justin Love was the other guy. So they both are in Nashville, and we came across that song, and they had it had been pitched and stuff, and it was a great song, and so that's what we decided to kind of go with as our first single. It's just a really kind of well put together song, and we were able to bring some other people into the production of it as well when we were in Nashville. A guy named Oneno. Did I say that right, Jared?
Oneno, yes.
Okay, perfect. And he came in and did a lot of the programming on it, and it was produced at 12-3 South Studios in Nashville by Donnie Reese, and he did a great job producing that, and he was, I felt like the whole track, the way it came together and stuff, there was a lot of great things that went into it, and I think just the whole huge team, and also it was mixed by Greg Archula, who's a Grammy nominated or has Grammys he's worked with help me, Jared.
Matchbox 20 is probably
Matchbox 20. Yeah, he did their record. Yourself for Someone Like You, I think it was.
Yeah, and he's worked with a bunch of people. He's kind of an A-lister.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, he's big name, big time. Worked some big records and stuff. So we were grateful and blessed to get him to come in and do the mixing on it. And so I think the end product speaks for itself, and a great team of people came together to make that.
No, it seems like such a through line. Whenever you want to make country music, where do they tell you to go? Oh, you head for Nashville. And that's just exactly what you guys did. Did you load up the van or take a flight to Nashville? And how long did it take to record the song at the studios there?
Well, we went over there and did the drums is how we got it started. And this is actually a better question for Jarrett.
That's Jarrett.
Waiting for the handoff there.
Yeah. It's Jarrett.
So we flew out there, and we really did most of it in 2 days out there, and then came back to my place and did some extra work to it, and then sent it back out there for the mix and master. And all in all, it was once it got here, it was kind of something we chipped away at so it probably took us a few weeks or whatever to get it done, but. All in all, it was a pretty fast, pretty smooth process.
Now, Jared, I'm guessing you could have produced this whole thing at Burley Studios, but what was the advantage of having an outside producer?
Well, so I kind of have a philosophy about producing, and that's it kind of comes down to if Sting and Paul McCartney still need a producer, everybody does, and. The idea there is just that having a different perspective, an outside lens on what you're doing can just be incredibly beneficial and helpful. Because, you as a creative, type, as an artist, you can kind of tend to get the tunnel vision on what you're working on. And so nice to have that outside perspective that you can trust. And so we kind of struck up a good relationship with Donnie, and he felt like he was going to be the right fit for that track, so we went for it. And it was an absolute blast.
That cinches it. It's definitely good to have somebody outside, an impartial person to come in and help you out. That's so smart. You're giving the people gems, because somebody who wrote the music, that's your baby, and you're going to be a little more. It's hard to kill your kids, and I think they do that in the movies where, the director will direct a bunch of scenes, and the one you like the most is the one you're supposed to leave on the cutting room floor. I think that's a thing, and it's hard to do that when you're the creator. It is. And
exactly.
I could see that having an impartial person, somebody on the outside in Nashville, of all places, the home of country music or the heart of country music. I know you can do it anywhere. Have you ever been approached has anybody ever been approached by some of these big record companies and gotten one of these, $5,000 checks or or ungodly money, or anybody had a big record deal in your day?
Turned down a couple, but never signed one.
Okay, let's get in on that. Oh, why did you turn it down? Because it's hard, for a 20-something. They throw a bunch of ducats in your face and say, "Hey, sign here. I'll give you this big check." What made you say no?
Yeah, well, because there's always a caveat, and that's the key with any record deal. Like I've never been one that's been like overly opposed to signing a deal, but the deal has to be right. You're entering into a business contract with somebody who's going to have a lot of influence and say over what you're doing creatively, and that needs to be a mutual and beneficial relationship. And if it's not worth it.
Yeah, the age-old story. They're going to make all the money and give you a little.
Yeah.
They make $1 million, you make 100,000. And yeah. I think now, you have a recording studio in your own house, or pretty much for anybody, with under $1,000, they got their own recording studio. You can get a pretty good mic, a pretty good mixer. As long as you have a discerning ear, you can at least record a demo, something that you could take to Nashville, something that you could take to Burley Studios and get it polished up. That's something that you could do. Does everybody have their own little recording equipment at their house?
Yeah.
I mean, besides your cell phone. Yeah. And back in the 70s, if I could take one of these phones back to the 70s and yeah, they would be flabbergasted, freaked out. Oh my goodness. Really? You could do all that with that little thing in your pocket? No way. Really? Yeah. I mean, these kids today, they don't know how good they have it made. There, I just got over it.
You and me both.
Yeah.
No, the technology is pretty astounding at this point. In fact, the single that we have coming out here on the 29th, we actually, most of it was recorded at our respective home studios, and then everybody sent me their tracks over to the big studio, and I put it all together and mixed it. So we fully homebrewed this one, and we're kind of excited to unleash it on the unwitting public.
Yeah, I knew that the internet has been used for good as well as evil. I talked to the first time I caught that. I talked to a guitarist in Australia, and he said, "Oh, my bassist is in the Middle East. My drummer is in Germany, and they send me their tracks, and I put them all together here. I guess in Perth, Australia, where he was at." And I said, "What? No, really?" They'd never met. They never met face to face ever. Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing what you can do.
That's the world we live in. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Oh, but okay. All right. Well, I mean, we've learned a little bit about you. How's the creative juices flowing as we're on lockdown? We're all at our respective places on this new technology, this newfangled phone system thing that we're doing, where you're all merging calls. Everybody's at their own house. How are your creative juices flowing these days as we're locked down with coronavirus? Let's start with Tyson on that one. Well, Tyson, what are you doing these days? I mean, to keep yourself busy.
Well, I live in Hood River, which is kind of windsurfing, kite surfing country. So I just kind of been trying to get into that sort of thing. So it's a long learning process, but it's a lot of fun. And I also started a garden, and we got some ducks and chickens, and so we have a little farm kind of going on. So I've been doing a lot of that stuff, writing music.
All right. So Tyson's the jock. All right. He's the outdoors boy. What else? What are the other two been doing? What's Jared Nolan been doing now that he's on lockdown?
Oh man, you know what? I took the first 2 weeks and did nothing, and it was glorious. Oh man, it was a much needed vacation.
It feels good to be a gangster.
Bonfire back here. Oh man, yeah, it was amazing. But things are starting to open back up. So I'm getting a lot of clients calling, and now everybody's trying to prep for whatever this next phase is. So things are getting busy again.
So that's pretty cool. So people can Dropbox their stuff over to you, and Burley Studios can take care of mix mastering stuff.
Absolutely.
Love it. Nick Rhodes, what are you up to these days?
No, it's still kind of the same thing, just minus live shows. We're still trying to market our stuff and run our products, and still training dogs. So other than the live shows kind of being canceled, not a lot's changed for me.
Well, I know a lot of these kids have been out there doing these Facebook lives and Instagram lives and TikToking and the like. Are you up into that or not for you?
I'm trying.
All right. I mean, I just figured out Facebook Live 4 weeks ago, so I've been doing that once a week and making a little Keys Dance Show podcast, just checking in with the folks that now that they can't do the video dance parties and the karaoke shows that I've been so used to doing every week. So, but yeah, I mean, okay. So once we bust out of lockdown, you got this brand new song that's about to come out. You know, what are you going to do with it? Are you once we break out of lockdown, are there any clubs that are opening back up that you can play at in your area?
Not yet here. We're West Coast is probably a little bit behind the rest of the country in some of those ways. So yeah, we're kind of just trying to get as much material out and put together as we can, and finish up a bunch of these songs we've been sitting on, and just get ready for the green light.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Well, I mean, I've learned a little bit about you guys, the Union Road Music. I think this is a good podcast number 1 for you guys. I do want to have each one of you individually. I'm going to invite each one of you individually, including Caleb Riley and Derek Williams, who could not make it today because they were off in the dark continent. They're being extra secret quarantined, I'm guessing.
Yeah, something like that.
They're on assignment right now, trying to gather more intel on this coronavirus. I'm going to put it that way. This is all me. This is all me making stuff up. All right.
We'll take it.
Yeah. Well, usually I finish these things off with last words for the people. And since there's 3 of you, I'll go in reverse alphabetical order in the order that they were received. And I don't even know what that is because I never learned how to read. So let's go with the Tyson Klassen, last words for the people. It could be some words that you live by or just something that pops into your head right now at this moment in time. Tyson Klassen, last words of the people, and then I will let everybody else do them. So Tyson Klassen, last words for the people.
Check out our new single on May 29th called Wasting Time. That's all I got.
All right. Jared Nolan, same thing. Last words for the people.
Well, I mean, obviously we have to push the stuff, but no, hey, we're living in a weird time, and I just hope everybody is keeping their head on straight and taking care of their fellow man, and we're all going to get through this together, whatever that looks like, and we can't wait to get back to being social again with everybody, life as usual.
Nick Rhodes, last words for the people.
I guess I would just say, echo what Jared said, and again, hopefully everyone can find some joy in our song we're about to put out, and on the 29th, it'll be released then. And, hopefully it brings some joy to people in this time, and everyone starts feeling better and everything can start getting back to normal. And so everybody be excellent to one another.
Excellent.
Party on, Wayne, and party on God.
Well, there you have it, party people. Union Road Music, or at least 3 out of 5 of the band members. I was talking to Nick Rhodes, the vocals and guitar, and Jared Nolan, the drums and the producer over at Burley Studios. Yeah, so look him up on Facebook, Burley Studios. I was talking to Tyson Klassen, bass guitar and vocals. So yeah, that's 3 out of 5. Hopefully in the near future, I get to talk to Caleb Riley, guitar, vocals, and Derek Williams, guitar, and that rounds out the band. They got a good flavor. They got a good sound, and they got a lot of backgrounds. And a lot of these people have been traveling all around this fine country of ours and finding different pieces of musical information to inspire them. That's what you do, man. And you don't limit yourself musically. Yes, they're primarily in the country genre, but you could tell there's something else going on in that music. Check out that new song. At least the song that's out there already, Union Road Awake, that's available out there on their YouTube, and you can find that. I checked out some of the Dusty Rhodes Band stuff is still out there. It's on Apple Music, music.apple.com, and they have the Dusty Rhodes Band is out there, so you could listen to the seedlings. What began as the Dusty Rhodes Band that has now blossomed and become the Union Roads Music. And you can find them at unionroadmusic.com, unionroadmusic.com. All right, that's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. If you'd like to tell your story, yes, you, I'm talking to you, My loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
If you like what you hear, follow What Makes You Famous social media. Use the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Follow on Facebook at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Instagram at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Twitter at Makes Famous. And follow on YouTube at Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Famous podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Famous podcasts on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, and almost anywhere you find podcasts. Tell your story on my podcast, What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time. You can support What Makes You Famous using the PayPal link, paypal.me/KeysDan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Famous podcast is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening. Radio What? The music you want with some great quotes. Technology is a way of organizing the universe so that man doesn't have to experience it. Max Frisch. The music you want. RadioWhat.com.
Hey, Keys Dan. What you doing?
My line.
I'm playing the best music by request 24 hours a day. Click on the request tab at the top of RadioWhat.com.
RadioWhat.com.